Hello and hello again, and welcome to another edition of the Living Strong Television Network broadcast, where I'm your guest speaker, Prophet Scotty Lee Johnson. On the behalf of the Whosoever Will Outreach Ministry, we're located 2121 Tillman Highway in the beautiful city of Ridgeland, South Carolina, under the leadership of none other than Pastor Josie M. Bostic, along with Dr. Earl Bostic Sr., DMD. The Bible declares that the word of the Lord, it is quick and powerful and sharper than any two-edged sword, piercing even to the dividing asunder of bone and marrow, and is a discerner of the thoughts and the intents of the heart. So what you need to do right quick is call a friend, call a neighbor, and let them know that Living Strong is on, and you can't go wrong when you're watching and living strong. Fastest 30 minutes starts right now. Hey, guess what? I've got a surprise for you. We are all the way here in the beautiful city of Los Angeles, California. And I have someone sitting with me that is a very special guest. And this is a very special edition. So make sure you call a friend, call a neighbor. And I have with me the former Miss Black America, Kalilah Allen Harris. How are you doing, Miss Harris? It is so nice to meet you.
It is very nice meeting you as well.
And we are enjoying your beautiful city of California.
Yes, it's very nice out here.
Is the weather like this most of the time?
Most of the time, yeah. Actually, it's been a little colder than normal lately.
Yeah.
But it's. I think they knew you were coming. They knew you were coming, so they were like, let's cool it off a little bit for the prophet and have his crew feeling good out here next to the ocean.
I believe that because, but God gave us some good weather coming up and everything else, and we really got blessed in the process of doing so, and he's allowed us to be able to just feel and fit right into California.
Yeah.
And there is so much that has happened into your life, being former Miss Black America. Let me ask you something. What did it take for you to have in your heart to believe that those goals and those dreams are achievable?
Wow. Well, I heard a radio ad for the Miss Black USA Foundation when I was in my first year at Meharry.
Right.
And I had always wanted to do pageants, and I knew it was a good way to get some extra money for school. So I said, let me see what they talking about. So I was like, I'm a competitor. I like competing, and I like to win stuff. So whatever I have to do to win, I'm gonna do it.
Oh.
So I trained, and
Wow.
I got me a dance choreographer so that I could have something to do for talent. I just did the things that I knew were necessary to make sure. I consulted with an imaging person. I just wanted to have the package ready to go. I didn't want to be the reason that I didn't win the title. And I felt like this was even before I knew that necessarily it was God calling me to tell me things and to speaking into my life. But I just knew.
And I was just about to ask you that, just about to say that. What role did God play? You just knew. Continue.
Yeah, looking back, it was definitely God speaking into my life and saying, you're going to be Miss Black USA. When I heard about it, I told my friends at Meharry. Needless to say, they had their doubts. And they were like, but you're in med school. You don't have time for that kind of thing. What do you mean you're going to be in a pageant? That time is over. Fun is over. You're in med school. Focus. And I was like, I feel like I can do both. And when I tell you, maybe I had 1 to 2 supporters, period.
Wow. Wow.
1 to 2 outside of my mother. That is the honest truth. And so it was kind of hard preparing because everybody was telling me not to do it, not to try it. I wasn't going to be successful in it. And if I was successful in it, I wasn't going to be successful in med school. And so I just had to, I was getting, at that point, I was, I'd like to say I was like a toddler in my prayer life.
Yeah.
So I really got strengthened a lot during that time because I felt as though I was standing alone. And it wasn't even anything really that controversial to me, but the fact that I was standing alone.
I call it against all odds.
Yes.
Yes, against all odds. But you pushed forward.
Me and Jesus. Yes, we did.
And your faith inspired you also to keep believing.
Absolutely. And I even oh gosh, I'm not going to think of the scripture, but it's the one that says, I just had a really rough day. Of course, against all odds, had been fighting that battle for a while.
And we know that faith without works is dead.
Absolutely.
And so you put the works behind it.
Absolutely. So this was about March, and I went to the pageant in May. So we're getting down to the line now. It's almost time to go. And not to mention we were going to West Africa. I had never been really outside of America at this point.
Right.
And certainly not by myself, and certainly not to compete for a title. I didn't know what I was getting ready to go into. I didn't know if these women were going to be supportive or smart or sweet. I knew they'd be smart. That's not true. So I didn't know if they would be supportive or sweet or if they'd be like sharks. Or
player haters, huh?
Right. Like trying to mess you up. Because it's like, we're in West Africa. If I mess up your dress, you ain't getting a new one. Not for the pageant. So I didn't know what was about to happen. But I just had a moment where, a day that I just really felt like, God, I just need some strength right now because I'm feeling totally alone. And I opened up my Bible, and this was before I had my reading plan. I just randomly opened up the Bible, and I decided I wanted to look for a scripture. You know how in the back it has certain topics you can look for, and I looked up loneliness. And it's talked, the scripture that I was directed to was, yea, I will strengthen thee with my right hand, and you are never alone. It was about that you were not
uphold you with my righteousness.
Yes. Righteousness of my right hand.
Yes.
Right. And I looked at that several times a day, every single day before I left. And at that point, I started that was the first time I can say, honestly, in my life that I really felt like I was not alone anymore. And there have been times where I felt like, I'm feeling this way, or I'm wanting to do certain things that are maybe unconventional, but I've always kind of felt like stuck out like a sore thumb a little bit.
Right.
Not really like I conformed to the world or to people in it.
God.
And I never understood what that was or why until I got stronger in my walk with God, and then I realized that when your purpose is, when you are following or walking in your purpose, you're not gonna fit in.
Now, did you hear what she said? Just now, Miss Harris said, when you're walking and you're following in your purpose, say that again. Go ahead and let them know. Say it again, because you said it better than me.
You're not gonna fit in.
You're not going to fit in. And this is the thing about it. And I tell you this all the time. I tell you this. And the reason why is because Rudolph was a misfit. He was a red-nosed reindeer.
Yes, he was.
And I tell people this all the time. And I guess maybe they get tired of hearing me say it, but I preach Rudolph every year. And he was a misfit, and he didn't fit in. But guess what? There came a time that a storm came up.
All right, now
and he couldn't use Dancer and Vixen and Blitzen and all the rest of them. He had to call Rudolph. Even though it's a myth.
That is a beautifully illustrated point, though. But I like what you're saying.
He had to cut through the storm.
He did, and he guess what? He was the only one who could do that.
He was the only one that
who was
could do
qualified.
It. Oh my Lord, thank you.
Because of his difference.
Yes, without a doubt, because of his difference, and being able to know that when you stand out, it sets you apart from you think, God, what is wrong with me? But there's nothing wrong. Because that's the way you was created. Right. And that's the way that God wanted you to be. But let me ask you this, and I know it may be a hard question. You kind of answered it a little bit in between. And it is one of those questions to where you kind of feel your way through it. But honestly, when you're in this, it's not always easy. But was there ever a time that you had your doubts?
Oh, yes. All the way leading up, when I got to the airport in D.C., when I landed, before I was about to go to West Africa, I was like, ooh-wee, I hope I'm not making a mistake. So there was a big thing. I had to miss all my finals. First year of med school, first full year done, had to miss the finals. They don't like that. They don't allow that. They don't support that. They're like, let me tell you this. You go and you do the pageant if you want to, but when you come back here, if you don't blow us out of the water with these scores, we don't know what's going to happen to you or your spot.
Right.
Basically. And I think that was more so a scare tactic. And I don't blame anyone. I don't think that anybody was necessarily trying to be mean, you know what I mean? But I think that it was more of I'm looking out for your best interest the way that I know how to, which is not always a supportive way. Some people like to try to scare you out of doing the thing that they think you shouldn't do.
God, don't they?
Yeah. And
it's an undermining of your future. It's an undermining of your gift and your talent, and it's also spiritual manipulation.
Absolutely.
It happens all the time.
Yeah.
But you wasn't scared. They didn't scare you out of it, did they? But you push forward, and when you push forward, you're having to deal with med school and everything else. Were you able to go back and try to accomplish some goal, or did God just have another venture for you? Because where you are now, I got to say, I think it's better than medical school.
Well, thank you. Well, this is funny. I was talking about this just a little while ago. He did purpose for me to finish that, and I think the reason being is that it totally changed my outlook on life and just hard work, what it means to work hard, what it means to really be giving your all, and even when you don't necessarily want to, because for the most part in my life, things have been kind of a choice. Like, well, I want to do this, so I'm going to do it. Or I don't want to do this, so I'm not. But in med school, it's not a choice if you're going to study. You have to study. You are going to study, or you are going to be kicked out. So I had to get over that. And I don't think that I could have learned those valuable lessons anywhere else, or in the amount of time and in the drastic way that I learned. Because like in undergrad, in high school, in junior high school, in elementary school, I didn't study ever. I heard the information in class. It was there. I retained it. I understood things. I had, obviously God had put a favor on my life and had given me abilities to, have memory in terms of, I don't think that I was necessarily smarter than other people, but the photographic memory and tools of understanding were a little different maybe. And so it worked to my advantage.
You took the words right out of my mouth. So it worked on your behalf.
Yes.
And it did work to your advantage. We got to move on. But let me say this right quick. Because I'm going to sort of ask the question and sort of statement at the same time.
Okay.
Was med school your first love, or was it the pageant? Which one had more weight?
Well,
Or was it 50-50? Kind of, you didn't know at the time.
Oh no, at the time it was very clear that pageant was that's what I wanted to win.
Yeah.
Med school was, so I think that's not even the complete accurate answer. My first love was seeking and gaining the approval of my parents.
Okay.
Whatever that meant.
Right.
My father graduated from Meharry Medical College.
Oh.
I was expected to
Poor
graduate from Meharry Medical College
You're
as
in trouble
well.
now. You're in trouble. How did you get
Therefore,
through that?
I did it because you want to make your parents
Right.
happy. And so I did that, and then I thought, well, maybe this will be icing on the cake too if I do the pageant as well, and then I'll get scholarship money, and then they won't have to really worry about me. So I'll be here doing what they want me to do, and I will also be, supporting myself, making it easier on them by entering the pageant. It just so happens that I love pageantry, and I always wanted to do it. But as a child, my mother, I don't think thought that I was, maybe, I don't know. She just didn't really support me doing it as a child because the whole John Benet Ramsey.
Oh God! You came up through that era.
I did. And that's when I wanted to do it.
I followed that whole story.
Yes, it was very unfortunate, and,
Right.
and that poor family has
Right.
been through a lot, and
Right.
I pray for them still. But I really wanted to, but after that, it was like definite no.
Okay.
You're not doing pageants. End of story. I mean, from the time and when I finally was grown and able to make the decision on my own, I was like, I'm gonna do pageants. I did one in college, the Miss Black and Gold pageant. It's a pageant through Alpha Phi Alpha fraternity. I got first runner-up, and then I did I do an no. In high school, I did my first one. It was the Montgomery County Junior Miss pageant. And so that national pageant is America's Junior Miss. I got first runner-up in that one. And then I got first runner-up at Miss Black and Gold in college.
Montgomery County, was that here or?
Montgomery, Alabama.
Montgomery, Alabama.
Where I was raised.
Yes. So you was raised in Alabama?
I was.
But you was born where at?
I was born here in L.A.
In L.A.?
L.A.
And you went down south?
It was real.
So if you went down south to Alabama and you was born in California, that means you are Calabama.
Calabama, yes. I'm from Calabama.
So you are from Calabama, okay. But anyway, Alabama. Yeah, but anyway. Okay, but the motivation that you had, oh God, your heart is just so full of it. The motivation that you had in your pageantry also advanced you to other things and kind of launched you to some other things that I heard. So what else did it advance you to?
Well, my whole life I've dreamt of acting and moving to Hollywood to pursue the dream. But in my rearing, I was taught and believed that college was the next step. Actually, I did not know. I feel a little ashamed saying this, but also proud of my parents for what they did. I didn't know that college was a choice. Like, I didn't know that you could decide not to go to college. That was just the next thing you did. And so I was like, okay, college. Had I not known that, I'd have been here a long time ago pursuing this. But college. So I was like, okay, I'll go to college. Great. I went to college. I got there. Some people were leaving and stuff. I was like, what do you mean you're leaving college? You can't leave. You're not done. Right. And then I found out you can leave if you want. But I was there. I was having a good time. I had a great time, by the way. Go Balls. Anyway, so I was there and I was learning about myself. And I think I like to say that I became an adult in Tennessee, which I did because I left home when I was 17. And, learned who I was, essentially. And anyway, so then the next step after that, because of the expectations and, I wanted to be successful. And it was also kind of taught to me that being successful meant that you were a doctor or a lawyer. Kind of. And so I was like, well, I want to be successful. And my original dream was to be a dancer and a singer. And my dad quickly said, oh, no. You're going to have to find a real career because being a dancer and a singer ain't going to get it. So I said, okay, well, what else? And then he was like, you can be a doctor. I was like, okay. You support that, doctor? Okay, I'll do it. So I did the things that were necessary to get to there. And then the next thing after, when it got close to graduation, was applying for medical school. I applied to one school thinking that, well, maybe if I don't get in and I try, I can get away with that. I can be like, oh, Dad, sorry. You should still be proud of me. I didn't get in. But I got in. And, like I said, that was a blessing, definitely, even though I didn't necessarily see it at the time. But it never went away. When I got to med school, I used to cry and pray and cry and pray and just pray for the desire to act to go away. I didn't want to have the desire to be in entertainment anymore. Because
you was trying to appease your parents.
Yes.
Wow. But the desire was in you.
It was. Now, I can't say that I found medicine uninteresting because it was interesting.
Right.
I've always been a curious person, though. So finding out about the human body and the way it works and ways to salvage life, it was very interesting. So I enjoyed it. I enjoyed learning about it.
Right.
But I always knew that it wasn't what I wanted to do with the rest of my life.
Right.
And so when I kept praying and kept begging and kept just, falling to my knees and like, Lord, please take this desire away.
Yeah, because you don't look like the type person to be cutting up nobody.
I was interested in orthopedic surgery. Anyway, it didn't go away, and I said, well, there must be some reason that it's here. I even took a hiatus from all things entertainment for about a year and a half, and I said, okay, if I can just focus for this little bit of time, take this test, focus, and when I say test, I mean step 1.
Right.
Focus, don't do anything to distract me, just stay here, see what happens, then I'll know for sure. And it never left me, and
Never
I
left.
couldn't, and I didn't feel like I was really living. I didn't feel like I was really enjoying life as I could be if I just had, the outlets sometimes to just do a little show, do a little commercial, do a little whatever.
A little something.
A little something.
To keep it going.
Yeah.
I know that's right. There's so much. We have got to move on. You still got time to call a friend, call a neighbor, and let them know that Living Strong is on. And say, hey, you won't believe Prophet Johnson is interviewing former Miss Black USA. Okay? Miss Black USA. All right. Now, there's another thing that I want to ask you. You went through so much growing up and said having to leave at the age of 17. So many people out there make the mistake at an early age in trying to succeed, getting away from their parents, because there's a whole big world out there that's going to try to come and eat them alive.
Oh, yes.
And what helped you to keep your head on straight, and also to stay focused on being goal-oriented? Just having a straight head. Just talk to the people just slightly about what motivated you to have a straight head, and the thing that was inside of you that held your morals together, especially in a world out there.
Well, I got to be honest about that. My pastor talks about this actually. When you have grace on credit, in terms of based on your potential, on what you're gonna be, not what you are, because I was lost.
Yeah, I've heard of that. I hear you.
I was lost for a long time.
At least you're honest, right?
Yeah, and honestly, I like look back and I'm like, but God. Because I wasn't doing the right thing. I wasn't making the right choices. But I always went to class, and I always did well in class. But I don't know how I didn't get in trouble. The stuff I was doing.
Yeah.
But I mean, God is good. I mean, he threw something in there one time and checked me real good. Because I was completely embarrassed. I did get in trouble one time.
Right.
And I thought I was going to lose everything. And I was like, ooh, I need to kind of get it together. I'm tripping. So I did. After that, I was like, okay, I got to change this. This is all wrong. I can't be getting into these altercations at the club with people. Like, I would get in arguments with people. It was just really stupid.
Just hanging out with the girls,
young dumb people do.
Yeah, and we've been through that and experienced that, because we know that experience is what matures us.
Absolutely.
And eventually, after a while, we kind of come to our senses and look back and like, God, and we do it. And we'll say, well, it was a mistake. No, it was by choice, but it was the hand of God's grace.
Absolutely.
And I thank God for your pastor's statement, that grace just flowing with us, even while we're out there and doing what we're doing. We've got to move on a little bit, because you having also being in the pageants, few movies. Do you want to talk about any of the movies that you've done, or any of the work that you've done as far as pertaining to acting? Some other people might want to check out.
Well, I've done a couple projects. One is getting ready to be released pretty soon. It's called One Chance, Two Dads, as in the number one chance, the number two dance. That title's so funny to me. Anyway, I'm a high school student, and I'm a mean girl in it, but it was fun. It was a fun project to do.
You played a bad girl.
I played a bad girl.
Good.
I
like that.
Little high school bad girl. There's another one that's out. It came out June 11th. It's called Deceitful. That was my first starring role in a feature film. I'm excited. I'm proud of that one. It is definitely rated R. There's no nudity or anything, but it is adult content. It is an urban thriller. I am proud of that having been the first role that I had the lead in, and we literally got it. I got offered the role on a Friday night, and we started shooting Saturday morning.
Wow.
I read the whole script. I tried to do, as much character development as I could in that short amount of time. Passed up a girls' night and everything, and I showed up on set and I was ready to work. And so it was good. It was fun. It was definitely a learning experience, and I can only improve from there. So I just finished a short film, which I'm really excited about. It's I was a lead character in that one as well. It's called, well, actually they're kind of maybe changing the title of it, but at last discussion, it was still called Daydream. I don't know if it's going to remain that name.
Yeah.
We'll see. But
that's a good one.
Yeah, but those are the films. I'm also writing some. I'm working on developing some of my own projects. I'm writing a couple projects with a couple different friends. Some stuff in the works.
Right.
So I'm excited.
Well, you're still young. You got your whole life ahead of you. And at this time, I think that there are some exciting things that's on the horizon in your life.
Yeah.
But perhaps we might talk about that a little bit towards the end of
Okay.
this interview. But there's another question I want to ask you right quick. How do you feel as though your decisions, as far as the step-by-step, fate followed you, I know that. Your pageants, you're just sticking with it, even though being bad and making, the things decisions that we make. How do you feel as though your pageantry led to where you are right now to do movies and acting? Was it the favor of God that you feel that was on your life? Because each level leads to another. Each door leads to another.
Absolutely.
And
even when you don't see it. 'Cause
even when you don't see it.
I expected,
But did you
okay,
expect?
do the
Did
pageant.
you expect to eventually? Did you want to eventually go into movies and doing that? Because hey, it's needed, and at the same time, we know that God has a way.
Absolutely.
You know what I mean?
I did always want to, but by the time I did the pageant and stuff was going on, I had kind of maybe a little given up on that dream, and I was like, well, maybe I'll do some like medical corresponding or something like that. I won't be in films. I'll just maybe talk or answer questions about medicine on TV every now and then. And I was like, okay, I'll do the pageant. I'll be done with it. I'll get some scholarship money. I'll move on, and then I'll be a doctor.
You were still trying.
I was still trying
to go back.
I was.
And just make mom and daddy happy.
I went back.
Well, how did it?
After I won the title my first year, and then I took a year off in between first and second year of med school.
Right.
And I strongly considered not going back, but my fighting spirit that won't allow me to quit things. I just have a thing with, like, if I started it, I'm gonna finish it. I went back. And so I finished second through fourth year after the rain, in between first and second year.
I don't know how much time we have. I'm going to flash on that time in a minute. But I want you to pay very close attention to what Sister Kalilah said. And there was a declaration in her spirit. And that was a declaration of war. And you need to hear this. Because she basically made the statement and said, whatever I start, it's my intended goal to make sure I finish it. And she dressed for success, and she became successful. So I'm going to ask you this question. How do your parents feel about where you are right now and your goals and what you've accomplished?
My mother is very proud, and so is my father. They have the MD to put up on their wall to frame, tell their people, their friends, they have a doctor who's a daughter. It's just that I'm not practicing, which I'm sure they would prefer that I did. But my mother has always known my heart and always known my tendency to be artistic. And she actually told me, she confided in me once, we were having a conversation. This was during one of the rough times of first year of med school. And I was like, gosh, whew. When I told her I was going to take some time off, she was like, well, I don't really know why you were doing that, because you've always wanted to be an actor, so why aren't you doing that? And I was like, well, Mom, you and Dad wanted. She was like, no, don't put me in that. You can do what you want to do. It's your life. You have to be happy. I want you to be happy. Now, of course, I'll be proud to tell people I have a doctor who's a daughter.
Right.
But you have to make your own decisions.
Yeah, after they give you all the rough edges and you take the beating and the pounding to go to the store, then they pull you out
Right.
of it, they soften it up and smooth it up. No. Yeah, but I can understand that because that's a mother's love.
Yeah.
And that's a father's love.
Absolutely.
And it has reached beyond the brink.
And I understand it. You know,
Yeah.
it was another. I just want what's good for you. I just want you to be taken care of. And I know that if you pick a profession where, you know, you go to professional school, you spend some time, you work with people, there's always going to be a need for you. You're not going to be necessarily struggling to survive, struggling to pay bills, struggling to, you know, just make a living generally if you choose to be a doctor. And I think that that was where it was coming from. Yeah.
Right. And at the same time, you was passion driven for what was in your heart. And also, you know, Sister Harris, you waited for this time and you pressed to get to this time. What do you want to see happen in your life based upon the future concerning how you want God to move for you, how you want to go? What do you want to advance in? How do you want to see your future continue to advance?
Oh my goodness. You know, it took me a while to get to the point where I really just said, Lord, your will, not my own. It doesn't forget all the things that I think I want to do or think I want to accomplish. What do you want me to accomplish for you?
Right.
To glorify the kingdom and to glorify you and to advance the kingdom, more importantly.
Right.
How can whatever I'm doing, because I've been involved in a lot of stuff. I mean, when people randomly say, hey, is there somebody who knows how to do back handsprings? I'm going, well, yeah, I used to do that. Or I used to. And I'm like, how are all these varied, all totally different experiences coming together in one person to advance the kingdom? And I've yet to get the specific answer of how he wants me to, but I know that this is the right path. I know that I'm doing what's in his will, but really I don't want to limit the possibilities by saying what I want, because what he has for
That's
me
important. Yes.
is way bigger than anything I could ever imagine, think or imagine. And so I'm just like, you know, just Lord, make me prepared for whatever it is that you put on me. And when you do show me exactly what the purpose is and exactly how I'm supposed to go about bringing your kingdom glory,
Wow.
just let me be ready.
Right. And you're doing just that right now by talking to Living Strong and the people that are watching. You also, like I said before, you did your work, you went through the process, waited your time. Now I'm going to get back to the question again. Because you stayed steady and you held off. And right now, you've achieved a lot of goals, and you're still young, got a lot of goals ahead of you. And I hear perhaps that there's another step that you're probably going to be taking based upon a very special step.
Yeah.
And I think I got a chance to meet somebody. But nevertheless, there are also some things that are developing for you in the future based upon your personal life. Would you like to talk about it?
Sure. Well,
Let me say this like this. Who's the special person in your life that you're looking forward to making sure that this special step is taken?
oh, goodness.
You don't have to say who, but nevertheless, you're ready for that move now.
My
because
husband
you have
to
waited.
be.
Yes.
I'm very excited about that.
Yes.
You know, for a long time, I didn't think that, I was unsure of if marriage was for me.
Right.
I knew that I don't know if it's a regional thing, but I've just always dreamt of being a bride and being a mother and a wife and all those things. And in the last, I don't know, 7 or so years, that kind of changed for me. And then I started to question, well, maybe that's a distraction for me right now. I don't know. I don't know how to take that. I don't really know what to do with that now. And really, I can't even take the time to figure out how to process this. So I'm just going to, anybody who comes talking about love, I don't have time, no.
Right.
But this young man was quite persistent, and he didn't let me push me away, even though I tried and tried and tried and tried. He wasn't going nowhere.
Right.
So I looked up one day, and I was like, he ain't left yet. I've been trying to make him leave. I think I love him.
You hear that?
I was caught up.
If there's a guy in your life or a girl in your life and he or she won't go nowhere, you better second guess that, because there are some people that will love you even more than you may love yourself.
Love yourself, you better say
And
it.
you won't know it until you done found out that, my God, this person really do care.
Right.
And that makes the difference. And I got a chance to meet the young man on today, and he is such a wonderful person.
I think
and
so,
we
too.
just had a great time.
Yeah, we did.
And I'm looking forward to seeing him again later in the future. So we at least know that that's coming up, and the years to come, in another little while to come, not this year, okay, but sometime later, but it won't be too far down the line. And I know that you're looking forward to God being a blessing.
Absolutely.
And will be to the union. And let me say to you right now, because I know our time is running out and we're getting ready to come to a close here, but let me say unto you right quick that the last thing that I want to run your way is this. If you could say something to the living, strong, I feel like I'm missing something. Lord, what am I missing? Come on, Jesus. Let me just go ahead and I'll follow up from there. Tack it on. If you could say something to the living, strong viewers to encourage them to just keep on keeping on. Believe in your dreams. And whatever you do, pursue them and don't give up. Look like I've answered it already. No. What would you say to them?
Exactly what you said would be the great start. But the one thing that you do know for sure is that if you don't try it, or if you give up, you won't achieve it. If you continue to try and you continue to do what steps can lead you toward that goal, eventually it works out. I've found that if you don't give up, it works. It works. Because God, people who are faithful, God has a special place in his heart for, it seems. He makes the things that they are after.
Y'all hear that? Listen to what she's saying. Listen to that. Kalilah, don't go nowhere. Please say it again. People who are faithful, God does what? Makes a special place.
He makes a special place in his heart. And he loves us all. Don't get me wrong.
Boy.
He loves us all. But he sees when you are working away and burning the midnight oil and doing things even when everybody's telling you you shouldn't, and you're stupid for doing it, and you ain't gonna make it, and you ain't gonna, people like you don't do this thing. He sees that. And he rewards you for being faithful. And in being faithful, it's even when everybody's telling you against all odds, you still do it. If he's told you something, God's words are never void. They never return void. So if he spoke it to you, it's coming to pass. It's going to. It has no choice. It has to. Because God can do everything except fail. So if he's spoken a word to you, that word has to come back fulfilled. And in your life, if it's spoken to you, whatever that thing is that you've been told has to happen. No choice. You just have to not. If you faint, not. If you faint, not.
We just went from the Miss Black USA pageant to medical doctor to a preacher. I did not know you got some fire in you. And you bring it on out, and it's there. It's there. So, hey, is there anything you want to say before we close out, or give a shout out to anyone before we go?
Hey, Mama. Hey, everybody else who I love and cherish and who's been supportive. And even those who've not been supportive, thank you too. And most importantly, our God is an awesome God.
Indeed.
If you don't know him, you need to get to know him. Okay? Let me tell you. That's it. Hey, boo.
All right. Okay. He's got that. And, we would like to thank each and every one of you for joining in to another special edition of the Living Strong Television Network broadcast. And I want you to allow Miss Kalilah Allen Harris' testimony and life to be an example for you, to know that you can achieve your goals no matter what they are. And I hear the Lord saying, here it comes. The Lord is saying to tell you that he have a crowning achievement for you. He's saying this is a crowning achievement in which you have not met yet. And he's saying, peradventure within the next 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, 5 years less. The crowning achievement of your goals will come forth with the advancement of the mechanism that he have placed on the inside of you. And the Father's saying to tell you, let not your heart be troubled, for if you believe in God, believe also in me. Now, this is what Jesus is saying to you tonight. He's saying to tell you, propel forward, move forward, launch forward, because I want you to know something. I got some good news for God, some bad news for you and I. Our days of procrastination are over. And I know that I am, and I know that you maybe are a little bit too, because these things happen. But the Lord is saying to tell you, the pinnacle you haven't reached yet. But you will see that crowning achievement. Wow, I can tell you what it is. Maybe I'll tell you when we go off. Should I tell y'all too? But you will reach that crowning achievement within less than 5 years. And he's saying to also that this is going to be an ultimate goal. Now, maybe I'll tell you when we go off. The Lord, I better tell him so that the whole world can hear. The Lord is going to also reset the mechanism of your body so that your body become palatable enough to bring forth the zero of the future. Okay? And he's doing that even as I speak. And right now, I want to say to you in closing that the last thing that I hear the Lord saying is that you believe, but now believe more. Believe more in what I'm going to do through your life and in your life and for your life. I know you got the best. And the guy that's in your life, he's going to push you to the top and support you there. And there's one other thing that I wanted to share with you before we go. If y'all can wait 1 minute. You have a dog.
Yes.
And what kind of dog is it?
Chocolate Lab Australian Shepherd mix.
You got a chocolate lab.
Yeah.
Wow. Australian mix?
Uh-huh.
Is it female, male?
Male.
And he's just awesome, ain't he?
Oh, yes.
And he loved your fiance.
Yes.
Without a doubt.
Yes.
Well, what's his name?
I call him Pooper, but his name is Zane.
Zane, and you call him Pooper. I've got a Jack Russell.
Do you?
Yes, and he's white with 2 black ears,
Uh-huh.
and his name is Jack.
Aw.
Last name Russell.
Jack Russell.
But anyway, his nickname is Bone Bone. Okay? So I just want to thank you,
Thank
Miss
you.
Harris, for coming on to be with us tonight. And for each and every one of you that are watching Living Strong, we're praying for your goals. We're praying for your endeavors, that you continue to reach out and tell others about a channel and Christian broadcast, family-based, that can help you to achieve your goals. And I know that we're getting ready to sign off tonight, but before we do, we're going to agree with you that Father will bless each and every one of you to do the things that you're desiring to do, and stay focused. Go back, replay the tape, look at it again, view it again, and listen to what Sister Kalilah has to say about achieving your goals in life, because this is so very important. And you know we're getting ready to sign off, and I know that you hate this part, but here it comes. Always remember, whatever you do in life, live to love and love to live. That's my time. Thank you for your time. Have a good night. Bye now.